I would say the most surprising opportunity that's come up is um
How do you think GMA has changed the way you think about running a business long term? So it's been a while since we last chatted. I looked back, it was 2023 when we did your last case study.
can't believe it's been that long.
Wow. Anyways, so I suppose the question is, what's changed the most in your business since we had that last discussion? I know lots of things have changed, so I'm quite excited
Ooh.
to hear.
Um yeah, a lot has changed. Um we're the I guess the biggest thing that's changed relative to GMA is just the exposure from all the marketing and the social media posts that we've done. It's amazing uh how much exposure and who's seeing it. Like I always think to myself, I'm just a uh, little surveyor from Idaho. How can people in uh, Great Britain or Africa or even other parts of the US find me and see my posts? But it seems to travel, and when I go places with other surveyors, I always get feedback on my posts and how great they are and keep up the good work and all that kind of stuff. So, which is crazy to me. I would have never thought that honestly going in. So,
Definitely spiked.
what's that?
Definitely spiked as you've grown.
Oh, yeah. Um, and then I think from a business side, we're just getting a lot more calls. And especially recently, I've been getting a lot of people that just come in and or call and be like, "You're my guy. You guys are just gonna do it. So we trust you. Just take care of us for us." And I was like, "Okay, are you sure you don't need a price first? Nope, you're good. Just take care of it." So they see the value there, which is great. Where before we were not I wouldn't say bargaining price, but we were having to essentially submit a quote and then they would be comparing it with somebody else usually and go with the lower cost. But lately I've been getting a fair amount that just say, just get her done.
So that's definitely a shift.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Those are the clients I like.
definitely. Don't need a price? No, fine, not a problem.
Right.
So, looking back on your, I suppose, previous a few years, what do you think your past self underestimated?
Ooh,
Mm.
it's a good question. I think I underestimated the value of, or not, maybe not the value, but the exposure, the benefit of a social media of a marketing campaign in general, but specifically social media and how that can affect especially our buyers where they're buying a service. They're not buying a product, they're buying a service and how that can affect them and um, really how many people out there have no idea what we do and having that constant exposure educates them and which I knew we always had to do, but underestimated how far that can go initially, for sure.
Yeah, that's a interesting, and I think everybody does. Even we do sometimes when we do certain things, and I think it suddenly go, wow, okay, that's really grown. Run legs round everything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you had to give the last year a theme or a character title, what would it be?
I don't know. Um,
Growth?
yeah, probably just growth. Um, growth and learning.
Mm,
Um, those are the biggest things in the last year to 2 years that I've recognized in myself and the business is the growth that we've had and just learning along the way and willing to make mistakes and grow from those mistakes and not have them hold us back.
yeah. With the learning, what would you say is some of the things that like surprised you?
Um, I think a lot of it is just learning um, we have to value ourselves and learning how to value ourselves and how to talk to those outside of our industry in a way that they understand us. Um, I think we're really bad at our terminology, our jargon, because we assume everybody else knows those words.
Yeah.
And when we're talking to somebody that has no clue what a surveyor does, we have to to learn to use the words that they understand and and explain it in a way that they recognize what we're doing or it hits a chord with them so that they better understand what we do and why we do it and why we need to do certain things. That's been a big learning thing for me is just the way the way we speak, the way we educate, has to be a little bit simplified for those that are outside the industry.
So when you've like learned that yourself, have you gone back to your team and said, right, this is how we need to explain it? And then they've literally copied and done the same thing.
Yeah, it's as I've learned things and learned how they evolve or how they've changed even throughout I've learned better ways, I should say, or refined my ways.
Yeah.
Um, and I explain that to the team. They most of the time they catch on and they're trying to do the same thing. And and I think it's helped because then all of us are pushing out kind of the same message in the
Yeah.
same way or similar ways, which
Yeah.
is good.
And it must be working because you're getting the phone calls now for the business.
Yep.
Hmm. Okay. Which part of GMA has stuck with you the most and become second nature?
I think the biggest thing for me is it's not quite second nature yet, but it's stuck with me as the consistency in posts, in social media posts, but also recognizing as people call or we're talking to people what they do or don't understand about surveying and um, how to answer those questions appropriately. That book, they ask you answer whatever it is. I haven't
Yeah.
read the whole thing, but I've read some of it, and that's essentially what has stuck with me the most is paying attention to what other people are saying or the questions that they're asking and being able to answer those questions in a intelligent but understandable way.
Yeah. Marcus Sheridan's very good at that. Explaining it, like answering, being the client and answering their everything, every type of question.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Can you share an example where a small tweak you learned in GMA turned into a big win later on?
Big win later on. I think the biggest thing is when I first started, it was um, the posts were very generic or very detailed, very technical. Um, and and as I've tweaked them from more technical, here's what we do and the equipment we use, to here's an answer to your question or potential question. That is, I think that's the biggest tweak that has had a big impact. Um, like I said, we're getting calls of people not even necessarily needing a quote. They're just finding us and saying, you guys are just going to take care of us for us. Take care of our project. We we don't really care what it costs. We just need it done.
Yeah.
And we're not really shopping around. We came to you and you're our guy, kind of a thing.
Well,
So,
yeah.
which is awesome. Keep them coming. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Have you noticed, I suppose this is to say, this is following on to exactly what you're saying. Have you noticed any ripple effects outside of work, confidence, decision making, team energy?
I think our team is on the same page for
Mm.
sure. As I've learned things in GMA and then try to teach them to the team, I think they're buying into that. Um, and so that team energy is pretty consistent, which is good. And then I think outside of work, I have a little bit more confidence in talking to people. It's still surprisingly, it's still hard for me to talk to people outside of work. Um, but I do have a little more confidence because learn to listen to what they're asking and not just jump in with an opinion immediately. And I think the whole GMA, understanding what the questions are and trying to answer that question from a business standpoint, carries over into like your personal life too. You're
Yeah.
listening a lot better than you were before.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's just normal, natural human behavior, really. Should be.
Yeah,
Should I
should
say?
be.
Should be.
Yep.
Um, so what's the most surprising opportunity that's opened up since completing GMA or still going through GMA because it's still an open course anyway, so you can choose, can't you, what you're doing?
I would say the most surprising opportunity that's come up is um, the the fact that I was, I don't know, chosen, requested to be the chairman of the NSPS Marketing and Outreach Committee.
Yes.
And I do think that's a direct correlation with GMA and what I've learned in GMA and implemented. Um, and I would have never guessed that I would be in that position.
So what's something you never expected to say yes to that you now find yourself doing?
I think that goes back to the NSPS Marketing Committee.
Yeah.
I would have never 2 years ago. I probably would have said no. Um, but I definitely have more confidence in myself now in that kind of role or that kind of position, and that's probably the biggest thing. I don't know, work related. I try to say yes to almost everything just because it's work, but um, but yeah, I think it just goes back to that NSPS committee and saying yes to that opportunity.
Okay. Yeah. What numbers or hard results can you point to now that you couldn't a year ago?
Oh, hard numbers. I think and I don't know for sure if this is a direct correlation with GMA, but from when I started GMA to now, um, business revenue is probably 3 times as much.
It's a combination.
I think it is, yeah. I don't know how much of that is a direct correlation, but I do think that it's partly the GMA and partly, well, the things I've learned in GMA, like we talked about, and bringing that back to the team and having the team on one goal, one unified front, I think helps a ton.
Yeah. But also your confidence is massive. If you look back on that previous video, your confidence is so different. It wasn't bad before. It wasn't bad, but it's up leveled.
I need to watch that again then, because I feel like maybe about that much has changed in my
Yeah.
confidence. But
But it's your perception though. So you're putting out that new perception and people are getting that and understanding it. Whereas before you might not have portrayed that perception.
well, that's true.
Might feel still shaky inside because I do with lots of things. Like everybody's like, when I do talks on, Hexagon Live or whatever at Dimensions, and I'm absolutely shitting myself. And everybody's like, "You're so good at it." I'm absolutely shitting myself. I am so scared. Like you can't
Oh
see
yeah.
my knees actually shaking. It's horrible. And everybody's like, "You're so good
Yeah,
at it." I'm like, I don't feel good at it, but your perception is, I've got to do a good job. I've got to put that out there so people see me as confident.
right. And I will say that with that, I'm not as afraid to post something that might be controversial.
Yeah.
At first I was very afraid to post something controversial or something that had uh like a slight grammatical error or something in it. Like this is just me. Like I'm just gonna throw it out there and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. Because you're always going to get that anyways.
Right.
Yeah. Keyboard warriors.
Exactly.
Definitely. How have clients or partners reacted to the changes in how you present your business?
A lot of our clients, especially our repeat clients, have a couple of them have mentioned to me that, you know, the they're more willing to send people our way. And I think not that we didn't have that before, but I'm hearing it more um, from them. Uh, and then new clients, I think a lot of them are just like I mentioned, they trust us. They've done their research and they know what we can do and who we are, and um, they're more they're more willing to reach out to us initially than maybe to one of our competitors.
Yeah. So you built the trust.
Yeah. Still working on it, trying to build it even more, but I think I think you can see it as when they, like I said, they call and they're like, "You're my first call," or they call and say, "Okay, this is what I need. I need you to just take care of it." And so we have
Mm.
that reputation, that trust with them already.
Yeah. Which
That
you probably
I
had before, but you've built on the layers.
Yeah. With our repeat clients, I mean, I've got repeat clients that are 15 years old
Mm.
that have come back to us for the last 15 years, and um, they're always going to come back to us because we've had that trust since then. But they're asking us to do more and more, and they're trusting us to do more and more.
And they give
And
you bigger projects, more detailed projects.
yeah, yep. And some of that's from just the overall relationship, but I do think some of that is based on some of the stuff that I've learned and implemented through GMA.
Yeah. So this is a good one. You might have to use your finger for this one. If you were if you were to draw before, after, and after line, what does the trajectory look like?
Ooh, I think ooh, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
I think before it was I don't know if I could do this. I'll have to point at my camera. I think it was a steady line, increasing line,
Mm,
but after it's definitely gone like this.
mm.
It's a steeper line, and then I'm assuming the after is just gonna it's kind of like an exponential curve. It's kind of what I think it looks like.
You put it down to like a compound effect. You know, like Albert Einstein says about the compound effect. You build something, it goes like snowballing, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yep. And I think that's exactly what it is. And the more I review the course and implement everything and read books and listen to podcasts and come on the calls and just learn from everybody else. I think that's the key is learning. You can learn on your own, but I guess for me, the key is learning from everybody else too on the calls and what they're doing and how they implement and building on each other. But then your team is building too at the same time. And so it's just gonna skyrocket,
Yeah, it's
which is
exciting.
awesome.
Yeah.
A little scary, but it's awesome.
Always scary, but it's good. You've got to feel the fear and do it anyway.
Right.
Definitely. How do you think GMA has changed the way you think about running a business long term?
Um, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's necessarily completely changed, but my perspective of it has changed a little bit. I've always thought and known that running a business is a marathon, not a sprint
Yeah.
to get where you want to go. But how you run that marathon had my perception of that has changed a little bit with GMA
Mm.
because before it was, oh, we didn't do much marketing. We're going to rely on repeat clients and our reputation in the community, our involvement in the community kind of a thing, um, which helps. But I think with GMA that exposure is bigger, and so your reach and your reputation is wider. You're not just relying on your clients to do that for you. You can rely on the community, the social media community to kind of help you out with that,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with
which I
that.
never would have thought was a smart idea 5 years ago
Yep.
because I didn't understand, but now I do.
Yeah. But that's, I think as well, you know, with GMA, you can do it as fast as you want, but the idea is you build on each section and build and deliver, try it out, test it, see what happens, tweak it. And I think as well with the Q&A, that's also important that like running over things, will this work? Because a lot of people are worried about like, oh, I need to get it all done now, but you can't. You're running a business as well. You're not just learning the marketing element. You're looking at the whole business and how it works. Your people,
Right.
your home life. You've got everything in there, and I think that's an important cue as well. It's not just quick. Let's learn it, read it, done. Bye. Or next bit. It's a builder.
Yeah. And you have to implement it. It's one thing to go through it and learn it, but you have to implement it. And once you implement it, that's where the real learning starts, I think,
Yeah, I agree.
is is the implementation of what you've learned, what you've read, and and that's the scary part. Because it, at least for me, it was, like I said, at the beginning, I was like, it has to be perfect. If I'm going to post something, it has to be perfect. It has to have this message or this and learning from the course and like you have to have your own voice in it. And we're not perfect every time. So if there's a little mistake in there or something's not exact, then it's okay because that's your personality, that's your voice, and I have noticed that some of those that are a little more authentic
Hmm.
do a lot better than those that are perfect grammatically or
Yeah.
with the exact right picture or whatever it is. The ones that are a little bit off always have the biggest reach.
I think it's because you're just being you. You're a human. You're allowed to make mistakes. So like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be polished.
Right.
Is a key. And it's like, the human element, we don't need to be all corporate and fancy. We just need to be ourselves because you're different to the guy down the road. So you will attract a different type of client base, even if you have similar customers.
Right. I had uh, I had a post go out yesterday that had some I can't remember. There was a word in there, and I had actually somebody mentioned to me that hey, I had to laugh at your post because there's a grammatical error in there. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, well, it says something about like the word ain't instead of aren't or something like that,
Oh
and I'm
yeah.
like, oh, that's okay. I did that on purpose. And I'm like, oh, all right. So it's stuff like that because that's more the way I speak a little bit sometimes. And so I was like, that's the way I would say it. So that's the
Yeah.
way it's going to go in there.
Yeah, correct. It's you
But
because then you've got when people read your content, they're reading, it's like you're speaking to them. That's
yeah,
the brand. That's the brand voice.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So if GMA 1, we've got GMA 2 coming out, building on what we've currently got. But if GMA 1 was the start of your journey, what's the next mountain you're climbing? What have you got set? What's in your, I mean, can you share any secrets?
I don't know. Um, right now, the biggest mountain in front of me is uh, from a marketing standpoint is the NSPS committee, which is a huge mountain because it's new. Um, and then uh, just business wise, just trying to figure out new content uh, and and building on what's already been done and trying to make that even bigger. And that's been hard for me. So that's kind of a mountain to climb for me personally is how do I build even more on what I've done and not get too overwhelmed where then
Yeah.
I just give up.
Yeah. Keep the consistency going.
Yeah.
Compound effect.
That's hard to do when you're, like you said, you got work, family
Yeah.
life, recreational, activities or kids in activities. You're you're pulled all different ways and uh trying to stay focused on even those little things is sometimes really hard to do.
Yeah. But this is where your next level comes. So your next mountain, you're like, right, I want to grow that. So what do we need to put in place? You might need a marketing person. You might need a marketing assistant, somebody who can, even from a starting point, an admin who can be doing books as well as some of the content creation side,
Yeah.
building on that. A junior surveyor who's got that quirkiness that could probably help you in that sort of area to build on it. Because like levels on how you automate it, it just needs to be built.
Yeah, and uh that's something I need to look into because so far everything's been done by me
Yeah.
and it's been a struggle sometimes to carve out the time to focus on that side of the business when you're pulled so hard the other direction
Yeah.
with everything else. But so yeah, that might be that's a mountain to climb too,
Yeah.
that
Yeah. We've got,
consistency.
yeah. Totally agree. And also you're delving into the realm of non-surveyor type person. How do you handle
Right.
them? How do you deal with them?
Yeah.
So you've got all that people skills to learn. So that's another whole remit.
Oh, yeah. People skills.
Yeah.
That's a
Definitely.
mountain in its own.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. So, what advice would you give to someone who is considering the GMA journey? I'm calling it a journey because it is literally a journey, or looking for something to help them up level their businesses.
I would say if you're looking at the GMA, don't hesitate. Um, I think I hesitated for a little bit when I first heard about it, trying to figure out if it was right, if it was worth the investment. Um, and looking back, I wish I would have started sooner.
Yeah.
But for for somebody that's looking into it, I would say dive into it head first and learn as much as you can. Um,
What do you think puts you what? Because generally surveyors are very introverted and reserved. They're not quick to buy the latest equipment. They're not quick. They want to test it and see what it does. And the same with business, especially if that's not your trained skill. So what are some of the things you think that made you hesitate? What did you have to do to prove that GMA and I was trustworthy?
I think the biggest thing that made me hesitate was um, the fear of failure,
Yeah.
and or and maybe not failure, but the fear of investing in something and not following through.
Mm.
Um, and And I think the biggest thing for me that changed my mind, or not necessarily changed my mind, but forced me to just do it was um, one, I was just looking to grow the business, find ways to grow the business. I knew that, times were changing and the way we get our message out had to change with that. Society is changing, going from analog to digital kind of a thing. Um, and uh, just talking to other surveyors and the not necessarily the complaints, but we always had stories on, this person called me and they had no idea what we do, and I had to educate them. I had to help them do this, and that kind of triggered my thoughts of, well, there's got to be a way to do this. And the more I looked into GMA um, and what you were doing with it, the more I was intrigued and how that could help. Because I knew you from Get Kids into Survey and some of those campaigns that you were already doing. Um, and I didn't know anybody that was doing GMA when I started.
Yeah,
Um,
one of the new ones, one of the starters, the beginning.
yeah, I had seen some of your posts on LinkedIn mostly, I think, when it first started about, what it can do and uh, how it can help. Because Polly, you had a lot of stories with Polly at the beginning, um, and just listening and reading how that has changed her and their business,
Yeah.
kind of changed my mind or my outlook on it a little bit. I already from the Get Kids into Survey and some of the other stuff, I kind of already trusted you without even knowing you. Um, and then this was just, I think, an easy transition. Go from
Mm.
knowing you from Get Kids and being a sponsor on some of those early posters to uh, jumping into this course, and it was honestly it was kind of like, what the hell? What is there to lose? Kind of a thing. And so that's one of the reasons why I did it.
Mm.
I wasn't necessarily afraid I was afraid to fail, but I wasn't afraid to try. And that's one thing that I always put in my mind. If I'm going to start something, I'm going to follow through with it.
Yeah.
Kind of my own personal accountability. So if I start something, I have to finish it or I have
Yeah.
to follow through with it. And that was the biggest thing for me, at least. Once I signed up, I wasn't giving up. And that was where I had to get mentally prepared for that
Mm.
to to have that mentality that if I'm doing this, I'm not going to give up. And before, I think I was afraid that I would,
Yeah.
or there was something else, there was other stuff going on in business or in life that probably would have pushed me to not follow through. I think that's probably the biggest thing for me personally is that accountability.
Yeah.
And the weekly calls is another good accountability tool too, I think.
Yeah.
At least for me, it was.
Yeah. Well, some people use them and some people don't, and that's fine. Because
Yeah,
everybody learns very differently. And some people don't want to share, some people want to do it behind the scenes, some people want to share, and that's fine.
right.
So, yeah. I'm quite intrigued because I asked you about being a brand ambassador for the next 2.0 launch, which is in production right now. And it's driving me insane. But I suppose what made you go, yeah, I'd love to be your brand ambassador, Elaine.
Um, I think I think a lot of it is just from personal experience with uh, GMA 1.0
Mm.
and the benefit and the success that I've seen in my personal life and business. If surveyors are a small community overall, we're fairly tight knit. We all run into the same issues no matter where we are.
Yeah.
And I think if we can all learn from each other or have that same message, that same training kind of a thing, I think it helps all of us in the long run. Um, but the biggest thing I think is just my personal growth and personal success that I've had with it. I I, anybody that asks me what I'm doing and why, what's changed with the social media posts and stuff, I always say, this is what I'm doing. This is what I've learned. This is who I learned it from. If you want to know more, go sign up.
Yeah.
So I think from that standpoint, being an ambassador for 2.0 is kind of a no-brainer.
Now you do realize that we're going to track your business now, don't you? This is like a theme that we've started.
I know.
And I'm going to push you more out of your comfort zone.
I need it, but it's scary.
So this is
You always try to
like,
push me out of my comfort zone, no matter what I'm
no,
doing anyway.
great.
So
I'm going to push you down the wrong way.
that's true. But it's gonna be outside my comfort zone no matter what.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And
Yeah.
as scary as that is, I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah. It's great. I'm excited.
So
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
yeah, thank you. It's been fun.
It's been great and continues to be great.